I mean, come on, man, you know the thing. Who else is a more patriotic American than these fine folks? I mean, other than maybe Colonel Sanders, because his chicken is tinger flicking good. Or finger sticking good. I mean, come on, man, you know the thing. They're definitely better than that Bernie Sanders guy. Can you believe I beat that guy in an election? I am Joe Biden, Bo Jiden. As the President of America, I just want to say Jim Jar are cool cats. I am Joe Biden, Bo Jiden. I mean, come on, man, you know the thing. Anyways, I gotta go. I have to go to deliver some tanks or something to that President Zelensky guy. Peace out, hooliganies.
Peace out, hooliganies. I love that thing. Good afternoon, you guys. What's up, my frams? Yes, John, there we go. Get it, my frams. Good to see you. I know, Rolana, I've been like, oh man, it's been horrible to see what's been going on with you know, the shooting and how people are taking it. I will be talking about it today, so don't worry. Definitely going to be hooking it up. But yeah, gotta move on. Beep, boop, boop, boop. Good morning, Warren. Good to see you. Good morning, Lana. Good morning, John. Thank you guys for coming. I guess good afternoon. Good morning, Bangkok. Oh, is it snowing right now? We are getting some weather, so you know how that goes. It looks like it's snowing right now. Is it snowing right now, Zach? Is it snowing or is it raining? Because that looks like snow.
Actually, no slush.
Is it slush? Okay, yeah, we're getting some snow right now. So we'll see how the electric poles out there take it. Oh yeah, it's definitely slush. Okay, we're getting some weather. So yay! You aren't late, Mantis. Don't worry, we just started. Oh, remember the tarp. I know. I miss it so much. I can't wait to go back out there once all this snow and stuff is done. Every time I think, all right, I'm going to go, hang up the tarp again, dry out everything out there. They're like, oh, we're getting some more snow again. So I didn't. I was going to put it up the other day and dry it out. I've put it up twice to dry it out. We keep getting snow. So I was going to do it again the other day. And then I heard that we were going to get some more snow. So I didn't. And here we are again with more snow. I'm never going to be able to go back outside. I miss my outside spot. It's my favorite. Yes, I will. Child, Lana says hi. You got some drizzle in Oregon? That's awesome. At least you're getting a little bit of drizzle. We got this like slush thing going on right now. I can't tell. It like looks like rain, but it's very big and thick. So yeah, it's probably like really heavy snow coming right now, like slush. So what's up, Rick? Good to see you. Jimmy's arms are gonna look like crystals with all that shoveling. I know, and that's what happens too. Like, see right here, I'm already starting to get like a little bit of something right here on my muscles from shoveling so much. And what it does is it does this. It like does this little extra boop, boop thing. So yeah, I'm like trying to keep my arms like this today. That way. Yeah, because I'm starting to get like a little bit of girth in my arms from all the shoveling and I'm getting tired of it. I want to go back to being skinny arms again. Mother Nature got jokes. What's up, Ed? Yo, woo, why? Hey, good show last night. I ended up rewatching the replay. Thanks for shouting me out. That was awesome. You're talking about my little snow thing that happened, and then the Chat GPT thing that was way cool. So that's why I was like, why does he want me to go back and watch it? I was like, okay, because he got me a shout out. Thank you so much. That was awesome. It was good to see her, Kira, last night. So I was excited. It was cool to see Jerry in the comments, at least. I know he's out here somewhere shooting. So Girth, there you go with the blushing of the Girth again. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to wake up. I was gonna play some video games last night with my friends, but I guess I got like the free add-ons to the power washer simulator last night, which is like you power wash things. It's like detailing cars and houses and stuff. And they gave the free add-ons last night on Xbox Game Pass. So I got stuck until like 3 o'clock in the morning power washing weird stuff, like a motorcycle, a truck, some alien stuff. I was power washing last night until 3 o'clock in the morning. It's such a mindless thing to do. Like it's just mindless self-indulgence. It's just that oddly satisfying thing. You got a GPT spam email at work 5 days in a row. Jesus. I didn't even think about the spam part of using Chat GPT. That's gonna suck. That's gonna suck bad. I can choke out Kyle Kalinske like Crystal. You were playing Toulouse? What's Toulouse? What's Toulouse? I know there's that one show that has a game that y'all have been obsessing over. I have not gotten into that at all yet. Not one bit. I know that you can play the game. I think it said it's a PlayStation exclusive game or something, or it's a PlayStation game. So I do have to pay for it if I want to get it because I got Xbox Game Pass on my computer. I don't play for PlayStation anymore. So I wouldn't be able to get it for free, but Last of Us. There you go. The Last of Us. I'm all Toulouse. I don't know what that. I haven't gotten into it at all. At all. So, like I said, I was playing Power Washer Simulator. I can't wait to get back on it today and play some more. I'm like in the middle of power washing a UFO spaceship right now. And I've gotten the whole outer edge, and I just started working on the middle so I can start working my way out. So I got the whole outer edge done, so that outer edge is done, and then I'm working from the middle all the way out. And that's what I'm doing. It's a big old circular spaceship. It's cool. I guess the add-ons is like some kind of space theme add-on. So you get like 5 more things to wash that are space theme. And then I think there's one more, which is I can't think of it. It's like some giant castle. What is it called? It's a giant castle, but it's from like a video game. With Tomb Raider. Yeah, Tomb Raider. That's what it is. So it's like a Tomb Raider add-on too. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. It's on Steam right now. Is it free on Steam? You want to play a cheese sandwich making simulation? I don't think they have anything like that. They do have Cooking Simulator, but the Cooking Simulator game is ridiculously hard. Like it's not hard, but it's super realistic. So like where you cut the tomato is like exactly where you cut it, and like you got to be able to pick things up, and it's all on a time limit, and put them in certain things, and then keep a certain, watch your, if you got like a fillet in there, you got to like flip it at a certain time or else it's going to burn. But at the same time, you're like boiling stuff and cutting up potatoes and tomatoes to make like some kind of soup or something to go with the sandwich. So they do have sandwich making in the Cooking Simulator, like a grilled cheese sandwich with a bowl of soup or something, but they do have sandwiches in it. So you want a grilled cheese sandwich? There's a Gouda DLC you're dying to get. Don't make fun of me. It's not free, unfortunately. Okay. Which is a griddled cheese sandwich. Yeah, those are good. I do like some grilled cheese sandwich with like some tomato soup or something during the winter time when it's cold. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. All this talk has convinced me to bake some granola bars. We're all talking about soup and grilled cheese sandwiches, and you're like, I'm going to do granola bars. They do have cooking simulator games, though. They have some interesting simulator games. Because I'm getting so desperate for simulation games, like I started playing ones that I never really wanted to play in the first place. Like I tried to do Farming Simulator, but I can't figure it out. I just can't figure it out. I can't figure out how, like, what it wants me to do. Like it's just not giving me a direction or a way to go. And then I don't know how to work the trucks and how to turn them on. And then it wants me to like plow the area and then water it and then seed it. And like I plowed the area, but then I couldn't find out where I had to water it so I could seed it. And it was just, Farming Simulator was way too hard. Apparently you really need to be a goddamn farmer to be able to play that damn game. And then I also tried one where it's like off-roading kind of stuff, where it's like real simulation off-roading, like with different trucks and things. And that one I was doing pretty well. I apparently am not really good. I get stuck a lot. I don't know. Maybe it's just the game. I'm not sure. Because I tried to like follow what the dirt roads looked like. So like if there was like a mud section on the left side, I would trail to the right side. But then it would like, I would lose control and it would like put me right into the mud anyway. And then I would get stuck. So I don't think it's really based off of reality. Because if you go around a mud puddle in real life and there's dirt around it, you're pretty much more safer. So I don't know. It was a little bit confusing. Didn't really understand it too much. So I stopped playing that. But I haven't found any other simulation games. I was thinking about re-downloading Subnautica Below Zero because I haven't beaten that game yet. And that game terrifies me. Oh, that game is so scary. But I know I've got to actually beat the game. I beat the first one, even though I beat it with a bunch of cheats. I got to eventually beat it. The second one, eventually. It's just super scary. So we'll see. I don't know. Halloween DLC. I don't want to start playing Sims, but all the extra stuff is so expensive. It makes me sad. I want to play with all the extra stuff in Sims. And I can't. Because I don't know how to do the stuff like, you know, getting the DLCs and stuff for free out of the computer. And then like, what if it gives my computer a virus? And yeah, I want to play Sims extra stuff, but I don't want to pay for it. But then I don't want the virus that comes with it. I'm spoiled. You're going to create the crack. I saw what you've been doing today about crackhead stuff. Okay. Wait, so create a crackhead simulator. You're a crackhead looking for a rock and you have to avoid cops and hallucinations. No, why would you do that? This is your weekly reminder that we're all in a simulation. Oh, Nintendo games. That's actually, really good idea. So I have a Nintendo Wii. Years old. It's like super old. I don't even know how old the Wii is, but it still works. I still have all the controllers and everything to go with it. But my nephew, I guess, hacked into the Wii and got me old original Nintendo games. So like I've got Mario, all the Marios, like 1 through 3. I even got like Duck Hunt, you know, like just a bunch of random, awesome, old school original Nintendo games on there from my nephew. And I have not set that up probably since like I think the last time I played it was probably about 2016, 2017 was the last time I played it. I could probably bring that back out. That would be a lot of fun. Like connect that to StreamYard and then play it. Oh, could you imagine like Twitch streaming some old ass Nintendo games? That would be fun. That'd be super, super fun. Yeah, Super Mario 2. I've got 1, 2, and 3. So yeah, Super Nintendo. You know what I mean? I've got like, is Kirby's Adventure? I think it was Nintendo. It might have been PlayStation where Kirby's Adventure was. There's like this Chicken Little game that I love, absolutely love on Nintendo that I used to play as a kid, and he ended up putting that on there for me. So I get to live my nostalgia. But there was a bunch of old Nintendo games on there. I just remember playing those because those are my favorite. But I should bring that back out. That'd be a lot of fun, playing Super Nintendo games. You hacked your Wii too and got on the Nintendo, Sega, and some arcade games. Okay, cool. So you know how it works. So you know how to do it. I'm like, my nephew was like, God, how old was he when he did that for me? Probably 11 or 12 years old. So I was like, bro, you're like a hacking genius. This is awesome. Like you're a goddamn kid hacking into a Wii for me. So I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I'm like, my nephew knows how to hack into a Wii at 12. You work in IT, you love hacking consoles. See, that's so cool. I want to be able to do that. That'd be so much fun. Can you hack into any of the newer ones? Like PlayStation 4? That way I can get like PlayStation Plus for free. No, just kidding. Just give me all the games. I want all the games. What's up, Willie? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Donkey Kong. Ooh. I haven't played Donkey Kong in a long time. A long, long time. And I played both different kinds too, like the original where you're like the little Mario going, up the ladders and stuff. And then I played the one where, it's you, Donkey Kong with the little donkey, and it's all the jungle and you collect bananas and stuff. Yeah, that's awesome. I want to get some original PlayStation games too. That would be cool to like hack into a PlayStation and get all the original PlayStation games, like Rayman's Adventure. Oh, that would be so much fun to play Rayman's Adventure again on PlayStation. Or Tony Hawk. Well, they just remade Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, and I was able to play the new version for free. It was all right. So I guess I've already been replaying that one. But there are some really old Nintendo games that I can't even think of right now that would probably be really fun to be able to play again. That if I saw them, I'd probably be like, oh my God, Halo, the first Halo. Oh God, I would kill to play the first Halo again. That'd be so much fun. What's up, hot R-word chicks? Good to see you. Thanks for coming by. PlayStations are easiest to hack? Hell yeah. That would be fun. I mean, I've got a PS4. I also have an Xbox 360, which I think was before the PS4. It's like I've got old consoles. I haven't bought anything new. Now I just play on my computer, except I just hook my my controller, I Bluetooth my controller to the to the computer. So that's cool. I want to learn how to do that. I want to learn how to hack into my PlayStation so I can play some games. Cause I'm running low on games. And it's really hard to find stuff like, cause I'm open to play anything. Like anytime Xbox Game Pass comes out with a new game, I'm downloading it. I'm at least trying it out. I'll give it an hour. And if I don't like it, then, oh, well, I'm done with it. So, and that's like a lot of the games on there right now. There's just nothing. I mean, there's like Steam's got some interesting stuff, but I'm afraid to download some of those free games on Steam because there's like Punch Hitler in the face and there's like hentai stuff on Steam. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude, like this is a game place. What's going on? So I'm afraid I'm going to get like a virus from downloading one of those Steam games. I'm terrified. Play The Last of Us. I'm just so worried that I'm not going to get into it because I haven't seen the show. I don't think I'm going to see the show because whatever channel or Plus account it's on, I don't have it. So I'm never going to be able to see the show. All I have is, what do I have? I guess I still have Amber's Netflix, but with the whole Netflix thing, I don't know how much longer that's going to last. Shane doesn't have his Hulu account anymore, so I don't have Hulu anymore. So I literally have only a Netflix and Roku channel, like the Roku channel. So I don't even know if I'm going to be able to watch that damn show. So you're not into every game. I'm just afraid to get into the game because once I get into the game, I'm going to want to watch the show. And if I can't watch the show, then what's the point of even getting into the game? Like all I'm going to do is just tease myself and get mad at myself for not being able to watch it. That's my only thing. And then I don't want to like find someone that has the show on their thing and do like, binge watch parties with them through, I don't even know. Like, that just sounds so super annoying. So that's why. That's why. How come in every end of the world story, it's only white people left? So fucking true. Thank you for saying that out loud, because I always think that. Because didn't you know Hollywood always needs that token black person to die for them? It has to happen. Have I ever played Wolfenstein games? Yes, I have delved into it a little bit, but I haven't like fully gotten into the games. Like, so some of those games like Wolfenstein or Diablo or Vampire, stuff like those, yeah, I've gotten into them. Like, I'll give them that first hour, but I don't know why I didn't get into all of those ones. They do seem like something I would be into. Maybe, I don't know what it is. I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah, right. Token. They need that token black person as the human sacrifice. Oh, it's so bad. Okay, what's up, Peter? So you've been a lefty for years. You think you still are. Protested wars and media consolidation. Censorship has always been your biggest concern. The last few years, the left has been shutting down speech. I can see it's weird how because I see it from both sides. I obviously, the left has been shutting down speech. I mean, the Twitter files just proves it right there. But the right, you could also see it with the right as well too, that they're supposed to be the most prominent speakers of our First Amendment, free speech, things like that. But they look at what's going on right now with the shooting that just happened. They're literally calling to end and silence and in technical terms cancel and censor the LGBTQ community because of a single shooting, saying that the trans community is starting to become violent and blah blah blah, which yeah, that shit was crazy too. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, the left shuts down free speech, the right shuts down free speech. There is no free speech in this country, so technically. Sometimes they keep the black guy alive right to the end. That's so fucking true. Goddamn, John. Oh my God. Fucking movies. I swear. Especially movies in the 90s and the 2000s. It was the worst for that. They always had to have that one. Just that one. And it was always the white people that died too. Or that lived at the end. Always true. Always true. You only play Flight Simulator. Can't stand shoot 'em up video games. I know I'm trying to find less shoot 'em up stuff because I've been playing Fortnite for like 3 years. So I'm trying to play less shoot 'em up, more like explore, survive kind of video games. I'm really enjoying like the kind of games that like Less Bones and stuff that we play, like Grounded, No Man's Sky, this new one, Valheim. I'm kind of starting to get into that a little bit, but I'm by myself a lot, so I die a lot. And in that game, if you die, it messes with like your statistics later on in the game. So I might have to just start over with a new one and try not to die as much because I died a lot in that game. But yeah, I've been more into like more of like the survival kind of stuff. So for sure. The right wing invent cancel culture, and they are practicing it, especially in Florida. Both sides are guilty of it. Yeah, exactly. I wish you could afford the latest flight simulator. I can't play the flight. I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. I'm too scared to fly. Thanks for the $10, John. Oh, thank you. You're awesome. I don't even know what to say when people do that. Thank you. But thank you for the $10. There's no free speech, no equal justice or protection under the law. There's only survival, right? Absolutely. I can attest to that for sure. Don't want to spoil The Last of Us, but now that I think about it, Lana and John are right about what you can get a 2004 flight simulator for $20. Yeah, I think I can get it for free on the Xbox Game Pass. I just haven't downloaded that one yet. I think what it is I saw the video for it and I saw like, public airplane, like an American Airlines airplane or something, and I saw the buttons and I was like, is it gonna have me like try to press all these buttons to fly? I just haven't given it a shot yet, but I probably will eventually. Like right now, I'm just stuck on the power wash simulator just because I just got the new add-ons for free for no reason, and I'm stoked. So I'm definitely just gonna stick to that until it's done. I'll probably have that done by today. And then I'll do the flight simulator. So I began to investigate everyone the media said was before me. Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson, Thomas, got all canceled. Hollywood has power over us. Yeah, for sure. I agree. There's a lot of Hollywood has power. Politics has power. Corporations have power. We, as what we like to call rugged individualism in America, tend to make us king of our own bubbles in this universe, and that doesn't really do well to help with coagulating certain types of power amongst the regular people to help fight the actual power that's really there. So coagulation, people, coagulation. Oh, about Black people not surviving. Yeah, no, they absolutely. You're right, Les. Yeah, they are right. It's super, super goddamn true. Think about any kind of horror movie, even funny, stupid ones. Like I think, was it Scream? One of the like the comedy version of Scream ones, the funny ones. It didn't, in that movie, like they say they were at a party or something and there was like a Black dude in the kitchen and the other Black dude come in and he was like, oh, what are you doing here? And he's like, I'm the token Black dude. He's like, oh, well, I thought I was the token Black dude. Well, then you can be the token. And then they give each other a handshake and the one goes off. So that way there could only be one token Black dude to die in that movie. Yeah. They even made fun of it in movies, in like the parody versions of movies back in the day, like horror movies and stuff. So yeah, it was everywhere. I specifically even just remember that part because I was like, this is so fucked up and so true even back then. So, yeah. You're usually more relaxed after a few drinks. Pull those invisible bootstraps up, right? The guy who made The Last of Us is a huge Zionist, too. Oh, see, that worries me. Well, that's probably why that's just a bunch of white people that live. The ruling classes need your dwindling dough in their pockets. Yeah, Scary Movie 1. There we go. Yeah. There was like two guys in the kitchen or something, and then they were like, oh, you're the token Black dude. Man, that was so fucked. I saw that. I remember that part, and I was just like, man, this is... They ain't lying, so... Yep. You guys talking about piloting? Everything's making sense now. Les Bones, are you starting to get it? Oh, poor Les Bones. He's starting to see white privilege in the 2000s. It's okay, Les Bones. It's over now. We're in 2023, all right? Things have changed. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it with a straight face. Fucking, I hate this country so much. All right, it's about 1:30. Let's get started on some news. Speaking of hating this country, woo! If Warren was here, he would be like, good job, Jimmy. That was an awesome segue. Oh, goddamn, I'm proud of myself right now. That was awesome. So, speaking of hating America, so I saw this on the news. Things have changed. Yeah, just for the worse, though. Exactly. So I said I couldn't say it with a straight face. I'm like, things have changed. Oh, man. Okay. So speaking of hating America, I'm just going to like roll with that segue for like the next 10 minutes because, you know, it was so good. Oh, there we go. Okay. So recently, the ICC, which is the International Criminal Court, has put out a warrant against Putin, and Biden is welcoming this. Okay, so we're gonna read this, and then I can't wait. All right, so U.S. President Joe Biden has welcomed the ICC's issuing of an arrest warrant against his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin. The ICC accused President Putin of committing war crimes in Ukraine, something President Biden said the Russian leader has clearly done. The claims focus on the unlawful deportation of children from Ukraine to Russia since the Moscow's invasion in 2022. Moscow has denied the allegation and denounced the warrants as outrageous. Right? Good luck serving that serving that warrant. So it's highly unlikely that much will come out of the move, as the ICC has no powers to arrest suspects without the cooperation of a country's government. Russia is not an ICC member, meaning the court located in Hague has no authority there. However, it could affect Mr. Putin in other ways, such as being unable to travel internationally. So here it comes. He could now be arrested if he sets foot in any of the court's 123 member states. Mr. Putin is only the third president to be issued with an ICC arrest warrant, which, if America was actually agreeing and going along with the ICC from the very beginning of its creation, Bush would be arrested, Obama would be arrested, Clinton most likely would be arrested. Trump would be arrested. You know how many people are doing human rights violations? Jesus Christ. What's crazy is, like, they'll say that we're not doing any human rights. We're not, like, you know, we don't have boots on the ground or something in another country like what Putin is doing in Ukraine. And, like, then there's this next video of our tanks with American flags on Syrian soil right next to oil drills. Like, Jesus Christ. You literally said that there are no boots on the ground occupying territory in Syria that's what makes it different than Russia invading Ukraine and making this a human rights violations. And it's like, dude, like, America owns like a third of Syria right now, and there are absolutely troops on the ground protecting the oil. Trump even said it himself that they were going to keep troops on the ground there to protect and keep the oil for ourselves out there. So, okay. Oh, yeah, it's all acting. Absolutely. All right. So President Biden said that while the court also held no sway in the U.S., the issuing of the warrant makes a very strong point. He's clearly committed war crimes. His administration had earlier formally determined that Russia had committed war crimes during the conflict in Ukraine, with Vice President Harris saying in February that those involved would be held to account. I love how they want to hold people to account for doing quote unquote war crimes when America is the number one when it comes to war crimes. So the United Nations also released a report earlier this week that found Moscow's forced removal of Ukraine children to areas under its control amounted to a war crime. In a statement on Friday, the ICC said it had reasonable grounds to believe that Putin committed criminal acts as well as working with others. It also accused him of failing to use his presidential powers to stop children being deported. I mean, we deport people all the time. I just don't understand why the news is so worried about deportation when that's literally all we do. America just lost like 30 something people down at the border because they were starving to death, so they lit their mattresses on fire, which I just saw a video this morning that the police officers locked the gates closed so that the prisoners, the detainees, couldn't come out of the detention center while it was on fire. So those police officers locked those guys in to let them die in a fire. So that's why so many of them died, is because the police officers didn't do anything to help them get out. They just let them die there, which was what they would do if any prison caught on fire, any jail caught on fire. That's what they would always tell us. When I went to the Twin Towers and the women's jail in LA, they always said if there was a fire here, they would just keep you locked up in your room. Like, oh, okay, so we're all just going to fucking die. We're just going to die here. So yeah, that's exactly what they do. But we worry about, you know, kids being deported over there back to Russia, but we do the same deportations all the time to children, women, all of it, all the time. So I just don't understand how regular people, when they read this kind of stuff, are like, deportation, what? But we do it all the time. Deportation is good, isn't it? Like, to them, at least it's good. So Yeah, Zelensky's been using those children as human shields. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Russia's Commissioner for Children's Rights is also wanted by the FCC or the ICC. Sorry, the ICC prosecutor Khan said the warrants were based upon forensic evidence scrutiny. Lady, come on, you're being rude, Miss Lady. All right, so based upon forensic evidence, scrutiny, and what's been said by those two individuals. So the scrutiny part, I was just like, really? Come on now. But the court had initially considered keeping the arrest warrants a secret, but decided to make them public to try to stop further crimes being committed. As if, like, hey, it's okay. As if he's like, the most wanted criminal in the world, and that he's like some serial killer who's just going to keep going unless, we make it public so everybody knows that he's wanted. They're making it such a big hoopla. Oh my gosh. Children can't be treated as the spoils of war. They can't be deported. Say that to the kids at the Mexico border, Mr. Khan. Say that to the people at, at the borders of England and UK, the ones that are coming up from Africa and in Libya, well, Africa, the continent, like Northern Africa. There's so many people that are immigrating to their own country too, and they're deporting back. I don't understand why they're doing the same talking points, but what do you expect? This type of crime doesn't need one to be a lawyer. One needs to be a human being to know how egregious it is. Oh God, I understand it's egregious, but do you not understand what your country and our country has already done? Like, just the things that they're saying, man, right? Even the pooch is protesting. This place is a horror show. What I thought was really cool about this whole situation was that, okay, so that's what they're trying to do, like, or what, ICC is like never gone, like ever gone with America's never really gone with the ICC before. So here's something I found yesterday, kind of talks about it's like a 6-minute audio thing where they talk about the history of the ICC in America. So this was made in April 16th, 2022, and the title is "The U.S. Does Not Recognize the Jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court." See, now this is what's so funny is, like, we'll recognize the ICC when it comes to Putin right now, but when it comes to ourselves being accused of something, we don't recognize the ICC. This is the little game that America is playing with the International Criminal Court. And remember that as of right now, they are working with them.
Earlier this week, President Biden used the word genocide to describe atrocities committed by Russia in Ukraine. The president had also previously called Russian President Vladimir Putin a war criminal and said evidence should be gathered to put Putin on trial. Now you might be asking, how or where does such a trial take place? There is a legal body specifically set up to prosecute cases of genocide, war crimes, and other serious international crimes. It's the International Criminal Court, or ICC. But here's the rub. The U.S. does not recognize the jurisdiction of this legal body. We wanted to learn more about why the U.S. does not, and despite that, if there is a role the U.S. could play in investigating Russian actions in Ukraine. For this, we called John Bellinger III. He was a legal advisor for the National Security Council and the State Department during the administration of George W. Bush, and he is with us now. John Bellinger, thank you so much for joining us.
Nice to be with you, Michelle.
So the International Criminal Court was established in 1998 by an international agreement called the Rome Statute. And although the U.S. helped negotiate that accord, it ultimately did not formally join the ICC. As briefly as you can, why not?
Well, that's right, Michelle. The U.S. has had a real roller coaster relationship with the ICC from the beginning, with unfortunately more downs than ups. The real answer to your question is that the U.S. has been concerned from the very beginning that the prosecutor for the court would be given too much power, unchecked, and he or she could conduct politically motivated prosecutions of U.S. soldiers.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So you hear he put prosecution of U.S. soldiers, though. So he says the real answer to the question, you has been concerned from the very beginning that the prosecutor for the court for the ICC would be given too much power unchecked, and he or she could conduct politically motivated persecutions of U.S. soldiers. When I heard that part, the first person I thought of was that one dude during when Trump was president. He did he brutally murdered somebody overseas in the Middle East and took a picture with him with a thumbs up, and they gave him a pardon and called him a hero, and he was disgusting. That guy should have been hit by the ICC for sure. But because he was a U.S. soldier, we were like, no, we don't recognize the ICC now. At that point, they didn't. The selfishness of how we work with the ICC when it comes to human rights violations is absolutely insane. Right. They lie and talk BS so easily, way too easily. It's crazy. It's like they have narcissist training in college in these universities or something. It's nuts to me.
And the U.S. actually had long supported the concept of an international criminal court. Congress had actually voted resolutions back in the 1990s calling for the creation of an international criminal court based on the Nuremberg tribunals after World War II. But as you said, when the Clinton administration participated in the negotiations of the treaty, the Rome Statute that created this international criminal court, the U.S. was not comfortable with the outcome and ended up being one of only 7 countries in the world that voted against the treaty.
I do want to point out that Russia also does not recognize that.
We voted against the treaty too. So boom, bam, bam. Why are we recognizing it now because of Biden when we didn't even vote to bring it into fruition? We weren't even part of its creation. And we don't even like them. We don't even want them to work with us anyway because we're afraid that they're going to attack us. But yeah, we're going to use them now.
Oh, does not.
What's up, Anthony? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Love the green heart.
Does not recognize the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court. But the ICC has already opened investigations into possible war crimes committed by Russia in Ukraine. Can the U.S. help with these investigations despite not being a member of the court itself?
Well, it certainly can, and it should, in my view. There's some legal problems because when the court opened in 2002, Congress passed on a bipartisan basis a very draconian piece of legislation called the American Service Members Protection Act that strictly limits the U.S. ability to cooperate with the court, with some exceptions. So the Biden administration would have to work its way through these legal restrictions, which would, I think, ultimately allow some support to the court. The bigger problem really is how is it that the U.S., which has traditionally had some concerns about the court, now support the court's investigation of Russia? There's an answer to that, which is that the United States is not concerned about everything that the ICC does. In fact,
here comes the excuse. So, which is the legit question. How is it that the U.S., which has traditionally had some concerns about the court, now support the investigation of Russia? And his excuse is going to be, U.S. doesn't have to concern itself with everything that the ICC does as long as we back them during the things that we want, then it's viable in court and all of that. It's just absolutely ridiculous how the excuse that he's coming up with on how it's okay to use the ICC now with Russia when we've not used it ever before because of being scared of our own people being arrested, which should be happening. But we can do it to we can scare Putin. Come on now.
I was legal advisor for the State Department in the second term of the Bush administration. We supported the court's investigation of the genocide
Brandy,
in Sudan.
good to see you. Thanks
so
for stopping by.
As long as the court is doing what it was created to do, which is to investigate international crimes that have not been investigated by the country that committed them, then we should be helping it. Of course, if they start
Sorry, you guys. So did you hear that right there? So long as the court is doing what it was created to do, which is to investigate international crimes that have not been investigated by the country that committed them, then we should be helping it. So if a country investigates its own crimes, self-regulation, kind of like what Norfolk Southern is doing with its trains right now, self-regulation, that amazing term. As long as America is doing that, self-regulating and investigating its own crimes, then we could be helping them when it comes to other countries. That's his excuse. Is that disgusting or is that disgusting? Because to me, that's fucking disgusting. And here we go. Okay, so we'll continue. We'll continue to keep this. Hey, Cape Socialist, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by.
They start investigating politically motivated cases of us or others, then we can oppose that.
But wait, hold on. What's the distinction there? Is the distinction, for example, the U.S. condemned a previous ICC investigation into U.S. actions in Afghanistan. Is the defining issue here whether the government responsible for the actions in question has the capacity or the willingness or any history of investigating itself? Is that the dividing line there?
So if the United States does end up supporting the ICC's investigation of Russia, which I hope and ultimately think that the Biden administration will, we will certainly open ourselves up to some charges of hypocrisy.
You hear that, guys? They're going to certainly open themselves up to some charges of hypocrisy. There's our campaign. We need to start this shit because they are officially backing the ICC right now to go after Putin, which obviously the ICC is toothless and can't really do anything, but it gives us that extreme, lefties, quote unquote radicals. This gives us an opportunity to fight back in a way that feels like maybe we could fight back, calling them out on their hypocrisy of this, going into research of the things that the IPC has wanted to investigate that America doesn't allow them to investigate. Afghanistan, Syria, George Bush, Obama. We've got all these examples that we can use against the ICC in America right now. Well, not against the ICC, because the ICC is just doing its own job. I'm pretty sure it wanted to investigate American war crimes as well. But with America, we've got something where we can fight. I mean, if we can figure out, some kind of, I don't know, like a viral campaign of some kind, like making memes and videos and all kinds of stuff. Like, here's our way of saying you're hypocritical. He's even saying it himself. They're opening themselves up to some charges of hypocrisy. So we've got, this is our fight right here. This is a way to be like, no, you all are criminals. Like, George Bush, you're a criminal. Obama, you're a criminal. Hillary, you're a criminal. Trump, you're a criminal. All of them. They're all fucking criminals. Every congressperson, every Senate, most of them, he just lied. Right. Obama needs to be arrested for repeatedly drone striking civilians in Afghanistan. Absolutely. Yes. Right. Putin has a warrant, but not the clown called Bush. Right. Because when they did that, when the ICC wanted to put out an investigation into what happened during when Bush was president, we didn't recognize the ICC. We didn't recognize them as an international criminal court. We're just doing it right now. We're recognizing them right now and making a big hoopla about it right now because it's Putin. We didn't hear about it on the news or hear about it anywhere when it was about Bush, when the ICC wanted to get Bush. So that's why, is because it's not, we don't recognize it when it's against us. And apparently this is their excuse for it, because we self-regulate.
Because of these traditional concerns that the U.S. has had about the ICC's investigation of the United States. But there is a difference.
No, there's not.
I think what we need to do is apply the terms of the treaty itself. The International Criminal Court exists only to assert jurisdiction when a country hasn't investigated its own nationals for the most serious of offenses. And Russia hasn't done that. In the case of Afghanistan, though, the United States had investigated most of those offenses.
Most of those offenses. You hear that? Most of those offenses. Goddamn liar, dude. This Bellinger guy is just really good at omitting and like flipping the coin on you a little bit. Most of those offenses. So yeah, then you just didn't want to, you can't say that you need to apply the terms of the treaty itself and then leave out the fact that you didn't you didn't investigate all the offenses. You investigated most of these and you omitted the fact that you didn't recognize the ICC. And this is super hypocritical of you doing and recognizing the ICC now because of Russia. It's wow, right? Right. It's like when cops investigate themselves. It's
and argue about whether the investigations were full enough, but
like
there's
that,
a
yeah,
big
like that
difference
never goes
between
good.
the investigations that were conducted by the United States at the same time that Russia is claiming that it has done absolutely nothing wrong in Ukraine.
Critics say that this is already hurting U.S. moral authority by not being a member. So do you feel comfortable telling me your opinion about this? I mean, do you think the U.S. should be a member?
The U.S. should be a member, but sadly, that ship sailed back in 1998 when the negotiators, over U.S. objections during the Clinton administration, negotiated a treaty that did not address U.S. concerns. So, yes, it's painful for me as an American, as a lawyer, as the former legal advisor for the State Department, representing a country that has long been at the forefront of international criminal justice. It is unfortunate that the United States is not a party to the International Criminal Court. We should be. But for the time being, I think U.S. policy will have to continue to be, through both Republican and Democratic administrations, is to support the court when it is doing what it was set up to do, which in this case, the investigations of the Russian war crimes and crimes against humanity in Ukraine, is exactly what the court was set up to do.
He is ridiculous. I cannot believe he's even saying that. We should be part of the International Criminal Court, but he says for the time being, we'll have to continue to support the court when it is doing what it is set up to do, which in this case, the investigation of the Russian war crimes. So you're telling me that the U.S. war crimes before, when it was wanting to investigate those, that's not what the ICC should be doing, but now it is because it's Russia? How are people not seeing this? I guess they're not, because they haven't seen this or listened to this video or this audio piece before, but I'm glad at least us are here seeing this, because this is insane to me. Like, I was trying to figure out learning about the ICC and why we're going after Russia. And then I found all this shit out and I'm just like, oh my gosh. Okay. So we're just using the ICC when we want to and when it benefits us, but when it's against us, then we don't even recognize it. It's right in our faces.
To do.
That was John Bellinger III. He is a former legal advisor to the National Security Council and the State Department during the administration of George W. Bush.
There's an explanation as to why he talks like that. He's a former legal advisor to the National Security Council and the State Department during the administration of George W. Bush. Of course. So he's going to say it like those, and he's not going to bring up the Bush, things that he's done. So with all of that, which, just to end it off on a really great note, now that we know that we're taking the side of the ICC this time around for some strange reason, Putin is getting ready to go to Africa, probably sometime within this year. And they're saying that if Putin goes, because of the guy was talking about during that the little video or the audio that we just watched, that Putin can't travel. He can't go to other countries and stuff. And so Putin's going to go to Africa, and America, it has its toes dipped in Africa for hundreds of years, and it doesn't want to stop. It's actually starting to ramp up again in Africa. And so Putin is going out there, and they're saying that the ICC can most likely arrest Putin if he goes to Africa. And it made me so mad that we're sitting here and we're like, yeah, he's gonna get arrested if he goes to Africa. We're gonna get him for human rights and blah blah blah. While George Bush and Hillary Clinton are still free and stuff. And then I saw this amazing video last night on Twitter, and I I don't know exactly. I think he might be a leader or something of the area that he's going to go and visit. But I thought that this was incredible. So this man right here, his name is Julius Malema. This is his video to America and to the news about Putin coming to his country. I can't wait for you guys to see it. I've been waiting for this since I started talking about this. This is amazing. Right, exactly, Lana. Just wait. Yeah, Cape Socialist. That's what I'm talking about. Fucking power. Oh.
Putin is welcomed. And no one is going to arrest Putin. If needs be, we'll go and fetch Putin from the airport to his meeting. He will finish all his meetings. We'll take him back to the airport. We're not going to be told by these hypocrites of the International Criminal Court who know the real violators of human rights, who know the murderers of this world. That former Prime Minister of Tony Blair admitted that they made a horrible mistake when it comes to Saddam Hussein. They've not been charged today. Bush is still there. They've not been charged till to date. And then Obama killed Gaddafi. And then nothing has happened. We're here today with Libya being destroyed and unable to recover because of America. We know very well that where NATO gets involved, those are terrorists. We know very well where the US says we're going in to install peace. That place will never know peace as long as America has visited that place. So we don't want ICC's hypocrisy to apply here in our country. President Putin is welcomed. We know our friends. We know the people who liberated us. We know the people who supported us. In Kutokonaval, the weapons that were used in Kutokonaval that led to the liberation of South Africa were coming from Russia. Russia supplied us with weapons in Kutokonaval. Cuba supplied us with soldiers. MK was drunk.
Is that amazing or what? I mean, he
Putin
just literally just straight up told off America and said, Russia is welcome here. Like, exactly, John. Like, fucking fire, dude. Fire. I cannot believe that he said that. I am so excited to hear people fighting back against America's imperialism. It made me so happy to see that video. Him saying Russia's welcome here and that Bush is not, he talked about Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein and Libya. And oh my gosh, inspiring is what it is. I always love to watch news and stuff from other countries to hear how other countries feel about us, and they all fucking hate us. And I absolutely love that they hate us. It's so fun to watch, to see how, because you live in America and everybody's like, we're the best country. We're the best country ever. I don't ever want to go anywhere else. We're the best country. And it's just like, do other people think like that? And you see this and you're just like, okay, yeah, we good, other countries. I'm on your side. Please take me out of here. Take my American card. I don't want it. Good to see you watching, Lula. Thanks for stopping by. The South Africans that you have spoken to over the phone through customer service are the most loving, happy, funniest people on earth. They have been through so much hell during apartheid. I agree. Absolutely, I agree. Yeah. That's why I always say, like, us, we've never, Misty made a good point that we've never actually gotten out of Africa, but we're definitely ramping up back in Africa again for some reason. And I've been saying since I've been hearing about this, that, if there's like one place that America just needs to stay out of and not try to bring, its imperialism to, it's Africa. Like, haven't we already done enough to that country or to that continent as it is in the last few hundred years? I'm pretty damn sure if there's anybody that America should stay away from, it's the continent of Africa. that would be first and foremost. Even if I was like cool with all the rest of the shit, like all the rest of the stuff that we're doing, you know, all the rest of the stuff that we've done, like you just don't fuck with Africa anymore, America. Like you really haven't really learned your lesson at all, have you? At all. It's nuts. Right, let's move out of here. I'm down. Let's go. I'm done with this. I'm so done with this country. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I want to move. With BRICS growing in power and developing the multipolar world, many countries are losing their fear of the US. Yeah, which is awesome. I mean, great. That's great. I've just recently been learning about this multipolar world, and I love it. I absolutely love it. For the longest time, I thought, you know, how else is the entire world going to get together and be in harmony with each other, you know, if unless we all learn and grow and experience each other's cultures, so we all can like understand and appreciate each other and live in peace with each other. And they always were, you know, it was always the creepy, you know, new world order and one world government and thing like that. And I'm just always like, okay, that would be good for the people, but it wouldn't be good because cultures would all be into one. You know, there wouldn't be separations of cultures and things like that, which I absolutely love. I think, you know, like being able to go to Asia and seeing their culture, it would be amazing. So that kind of thing for one. And then for two, there would be one leader. And I'm sorry, but I couldn't imagine one person ruling an entire planet. I just think that that's wrong and corrupt as shit. We can't even keep ourselves uncorrupted in just these little countries that we're running. How would the world be any different? So, but I always thought there's got to be a way to be able to have all of us be able to live in peace and harmony all over the world, being able to appreciate and go and see other people's cultures with the welcoming arms and, you know, open hand or open arms, open heart of being like, yes, learn about my culture. I want you to be a part of it. But then us having our own, you know, not like separate like apartheid version, but like, you know, having our own, being happy and happy in our own country or our own continent, but not thinking it's the best in the world, you know, like I love this country, but I also love Japan, you know, or something like that. So that's what I feel like, that this multipolar world kind of seems like the answer that I've been trying to figure out how this could work, of everybody living in unity all over the world, but still being able to, you know, not because separating sounds horrible. It sounds like, you know, apartheid or segregation, because I don't think it's more of a separation, but it's like, you know, you're in your own country and you know what you need. So, you know, that's why you have that, you know, at least if a good leader was there, you would know what your country needs. You wouldn't know what, you know, like if you were in Taiwan, you wouldn't know what somebody in Florida needs or somebody in Alaska needs, you know? So that's why it's like, you're able to take care of your own area because that is your area and you know what your people in your land need. So, you know, everybody in a commune, I guess, would be able to take care. I don't know. I'm rambling now. So it's multipolar or bust. Exactly. Wouldn't you rather split atoms and obliterate Earth's surface? I mean, that does sound fun. That does sound fun. I'm just trying to find a nice way, because I remember when I used to be all super into aliens and stuff. I always remembered, because I wanted aliens to come and visit us so bad. And I always heard through like the Gaia channel and those guys that were from the Ancient Alien show and stuff, they always said we had to be at a level 0 planet. And we were at a level 2 or a level 1 or something, because we had nuclear bombs and we were fighting with each other and there's these wars and stuff. And the aliens won't come to visit you unless you're at a 0 where everybody gets along. It's all peaceful. And that's the only way that they'll come to you. That's why, you know, we don't see aliens and stuff, is because we're not part of their system. Where, you know, we're not space travel and stuff isn't added. We're kind of like on the outskirts and like the black area of their traveling system, because we're at war so much. So I always thought, you know, well, then what's a way to get this planet for everybody to get along, but still be able to experience your own culture in your own way? Because I know that, you know, somebody from another culture is going to get culture shocked from being sent to another place. So being comfortable in their own surrounding and in their own area, but everybody getting along so aliens could come. And that's why I used to think about that, is because I wanted aliens to come and visit. So yeah, different cultures are a good thing. That's what I was saying, because you hear about these certain countries where things are progressing and like the language of that country is gone, like only the elders know the language, or the trade and the skills that they did to make special certain things that other countries can't make because it's specific to that area. And a lot of those trades are going away because the culture is going away. And I know that culture is super, super, super important, and it's what identifies people. And I see it as a beautiful, gorgeous, amazing thing that I love to see different cultures. That's like some of my favorite stuff. And so, yeah, having that, but with everybody in the world getting along. I really want aliens to come and see us, you guys. Aliens are scary. Yeah, they don't like our nukes. They don't like us fighting. They don't like all of that. They want us to be completely at peace, and then they can add us to their travel system. It's kind of like, you look on a map and you see, this highway, but then you look out and there's like this, little country or this little town out here that's out in the middle of nowhere. You can't find a way to get to it. That's Earth in the system of traveling. We're like stuck out there because we all can't get along. I love different cultures too. It's my favorite. Capitalism warps society to hyper focus on the wrong things. Absolutely, I agree. Absolutely. I hope the aliens are here and can disable our nukes. I mean, I wish. That would be nice. Yeah, exactly, Lana. Earth is literally blocked off. Like all the species of different types of aliens all over the universe will not allow us to be a part of their travel system, and people to come here. Maybe a little bit of touring or something to come and see like a zoo, where you see these like savage beasts in cages and stuff. They're like, here, come and check out Earth. This is the place where people they just can't get along. They just keep killing each other. It's like the highest murder death rate in the entire solar system or the universe or something. Yeah, that would be it. It's crazy. It's crazy. I just want aliens to come, okay? Or they want us completely at peace so they can invade and steal all our resources. That's all right. They can steal my resources. I'm just kidding. I mean, yeah, I could possibly see that, disarming nukes. I have heard of that kind of thing where like these, airplanes had these, rockets that they were going to shoot off, and they saw an alien and then the rocket jammed and it wouldn't go anymore. So I've seen things like that for sure. Sometimes think the aliens come when we're going to use nukes. Yeah, absolutely. I think when anything big is going to happen, they come. Independence Day movie. Our elites would sell our resources to them, and then we'd be the big ear people from Star Trek. No, why would you say that? Those guys are ugly. I don't want to be the ear person from Star Trek. You remember your favorite Martian? Or remember my favorite Martian that was terrifying? There you go, Ed. Our elites are ignorant dimwits that will be vaporized instantly by our benevolent alien liberators. I'm fucking here for it. I'm here for it. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so next ones that I have is Aaron Matei I think he was talking on the Jimmy Dore show about his IPCC or IPPC conference on Syria. And I thought we could talk about that since we're already talking about, war crimes and international war crimes and stuff like that. So we'll watch this. And then I got something interesting to show because, American propaganda stuff that we like to use, and then American propaganda fucking up. So, okay. Here is Aaron Matei debunks Syrian gas attack cover-up at the UN. So if you remember a few years back, they said that Bashar al-Assad gassed his own people to try to get people against Bashar al-Assad in Syria, kind of like what we're doing with Putin right now in Russia and China with Xi Jinping. Make this palatable. You got it. All right. So here is, let me start it at the spot that I want to start it on. Is it this one? Yeah, there it is. Okay.
Watchdog blames Syria for the Duma chemical attack. Chemical weapons watchdog blames Syrian Air Force for the Duma chemical attack and the fog of Syria. OPCW blames Syria government for the 2018 chlorine gas attack, and then reasonable grounds to believe Syrian government did the. Okay, there is no reason. Okay, so Aaron Mate then has to believe, but he went to the UN, and I just want to show you a minute of this because he looks good in a suit. Here we go.
I have to say that I find it unfortunate that nearly 5 years after that alleged incident in Duma, this controversy around the OPCW investigation is still being debated in public rather than being addressed by the OPCW. Because fundamentally, this is a controversy that is internal to the OPCW. And at the heart of it are at least 2 veteran inspectors from the OPCW with nearly 30 years of combined experience who worked on the Duma investigation, who deployed to Syria for the Duma investigation. And what they say is very simple. They have accused senior officials at the OPCW of suppressing findings from their probe and putting out unsupported conclusions that baselessly implicate the Syrian government in a chemical attack. And they are not demanding that their own opinions be affirmed as the ultimate truth. They just want the right to be heard. And rather than hearing these inspectors, allowing them to come in and voice their concerns, allowing the OPCW to weigh the findings that were suppressed, the OPCW has refused to meet with them, and he's even denigrated them in public, which I will get into. So when I talk about the suppression of the Duma probe, it's a long story, which I've gone through before, so I won't repeat the whole story. But let me just illustrate, give you one example of the documented suppression of the findings of the Duma probe, which nobody contests. This is uncontested fact. So the alleged chemical attack happens on April 7th, 2018.
Well, let me bring you in. Let me bring in Aaron right here. So first of all, if those chemical weapons inspectors who went against the OPCW's official narrative and they were considered whistleblowers, if they can't get a hearing or get to speak at the UN, how come you get invited? And if Jose Bustiano, who's to be the former head of the OPCW, who also agrees with your narrative on Syria gas attacks, can't get a hearing at the UN, how do you get invited?
Jose Bustani, the first Director General of the OPCW, who was ousted by the Bush administration back in 2002, 2003, because he was opposing the Iraq War. He was invited to speak at a UN Security Council meeting in the fall of 2020, but the US, UK, and France led the way in blocking him from speaking because he was going to come out in defense of the dissenting OPCW inspectors in the Duma investigation and call for accountability. And that was a different kind of meeting where other states can block speakers. At the one where I was invited to, I don't think there's that option. So that's why I was given the chance to speak here.
Oh, okay. All right. And so so I noticed that there was a rash of articles written recently.
Good for Aaron. I mean, at least he got a chance to speak at this, because apparently anybody else that has a dissenting voice on whether or not Syria gassed his own people are not getting any kind of voice. I mean, just like we were talking about with the story before, like, where's the ICC on this? You know, where's the, oh, that's right, because America is just actually investigating its own crime. That's why the ICC probably won't come and, you know, arrest Trump during the Syrian gas attacks. So, you know, yeah. You gotta love corrupt governments.
That was confirming the BS narrative that Assad gassed his own people. It's inexplicable. He was winning the war. Why would you kill those people? It was only like a couple of dozen people they claimed he killed anyway. Why would you use chemical? Everything points the other way that he would do that. So why all of a sudden were all these articles written recently that claim that was the true narrative, that Assad did it himself? And then go ahead.
Yeah. So a quick timeline. So April 7, 2018 is when this alleged chemical attack occurred. There are videos put out of dozens of dead bodies from the scene. The people are foaming at the mouth. They've collapsed dead in piles. And the insurgents who controlled Syria at the time, Duma at the time, this town of Duma, and their allies, the White Helmets, which is a group funded by the US and UK and other NATO states, they all claim that the victims have suffered a chemical attack. And about a year later, in March 2019, the OPCW puts out a final report that says that, yes, there are reasonable grounds to believe that this was a chemical attack with chlorine gas. And they don't say who did it, but the obvious inference that they want you to come away with is that Syria was guilty. So that's March 2019, about a year after the original incident. But then we get all these leaks from inside the OPCW. And these leaks show that the actual original team that went to Syria for this mission and then came back and wrote up an original report, that they did not reach that conclusion, that they actually collected a lot of evidence that this was not a chemical attack, but that this incident was staged by insurgents on the ground, which makes sense.
So the White Helmets did their own little investigation, said that there was Syrian gas there. The OPCW took that and said, okay, there is gas. Then another independent investigation went in and said, and did research and said there isn't any. So this is what's happening so far.
Right? Even if, before you look at all the evidence, just think of it logically. The U.S. has laid down what's called the red line. Obama announced it, saying that if chemical weapons are used, that would change our calculus, and we would militarily intervene. So if you're Syria, why would you do the one thing that would invite military intervention against you? You're already facing the most well-funded insurgency in history, billions of dollars spent by the U.S., UK, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Turkey, Israel, France, flooding Syria with weapons to an insurgency dominated by Al-Qaeda. So you're already facing that. Why would you now do the one thing?
I think, you know what, it just hit me right now. The whole blaming Bashar al-Assad for gassing his own people in Syria kind of reminds me of America blaming Russia for blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline. It kind of feels the same, doesn't it? I don't know. I just kind of felt that when he was saying that. I was like, oh yeah, no, that felt like that.
That's thing that will get the U.S. Air Force to act on Al-Qaeda's behalf. It doesn't make any sense. And why, by the way, does Syria never gas all these insurgents that are taking over its territory? Like Idlib right now is controlled by Al-Qaeda. How come Al-Qaeda never got hit with chemical weapons, but yet for some reason Syria chooses to use them against innocent civilians inside an apartment building? So just even logically, it's so ridiculous. And obviously, the obvious answer is that this is just like the Iraq WMD playbook. You need a pretext to justify sanctioning Syria, bombing Syria occasionally, and continuing the dirty war. And now continuing the U.S. military occupation of Syria, which, by the way, just led to a U.S. Contractor being killed because the U.S. is still there. And when the State Department says why we need to be there, what do they say? It's because Syria gassed its own people. So that's really the reasons behind these chemical weapons allegations. So anyway, the leaks show that the original team collected all this evidence that was suppressed. And when all this comes out, it's published at WikiLeaks. Robert Fisk, the late, great journalist, British journalist, writes about it. It gets attention. What does the OPCW do? It basically says there's nothing to see here. These two dissenting inspectors, the ones we know about, they're uninformed. They don't matter. And they refuse to have any accountability whatsoever. And then there's basically a disinformation campaign launched against the dissenting inspectors and people like myself and Max Blumenthal and Roger Waters, who speak out in their defense. So the BBC, which is a UK state-funded outlet, and Bellingcat, a NATO troll farm, put out all these ridiculous attacks on the whistleblowers. And this goes on for many years, and we've talked about it over the years. So finally, in January of this year, they've
done the same thing to this show. If you go to my Wikipedia page, that I've called the conspiracy theorist because of this very. It's in Wikipedia. It's just CNN. It's called Jimmy Dore conspiracy theorist over the gas attacks of Assad on his own people. Well, he didn't do it on his own people. And
Jimmy, are you accusing?
And the leaks from the OPCW came out. And that's when I really got involved in the story. So as always, you deserve a lot of credit there for.
Well, you're very generous.
To call this one out.
You're very generous.
It's true. It's just true. So finally, in January of this year, after years of stonewalling accountability, so insulting the whistleblowers in public, putting out false claims about them, all of which I've debunked in over 12 articles at the Gray Zone, which no one's ever written a single response to. After blocking people like Jose Bustani, the first director general of the OPCW, when he tries to speak in their defense, the U.S. and their allies block him from speaking. So after years of that, finally in January, we get the OPCW coming out with a new report from something called its Investigation and Identification Team. And this is a new team that's been set up pretty much at the behest of the U.S. and its allies. And their mandate is to identify the perpetrators of chemical attacks in Syria. Their actual mandate is to whitewash U.S.-led allegations like the one in Duma. So
this is that self-regulating thing. So America is self-regulating itself of what it did, what happened in Syria, and they're starting a whole nother case up again of self-regulation. So, the ICC doesn't get them for human rights violations, and they get to use their own people to do research and investigation into Syria so they can come up with their own answers and say that there was gas, that Assad actually gassed his own people out there in Syria. It's just repeating court cases over and over and over again and not allowing people with dissenting opinions actually say anything in these court cases.
Put out this long report that makes the case that, yes, Syria was guilty of the attack in Duma. And they, it's a very long report on the surface. Some people reading it might be impressed by it. But as I've shown now in 2 articles at the Gray Zone, it is riddled with gaping holes. And it's basically an attempt to answer the dissenting inspectors without directly answering them, because they can't directly answer them because the dissenting inspectors have the facts on their side. So it's basically a tacit effort to try to paper over all the previous flaws in the Duma probe. The problem is, to paper over the previous flaws, they have to come up with a whole bunch of new deceptions. And that's what I've debunked at the Gray Zone in 2 articles and also in my comments at the UN.
It's so how does the corruption of an institution like the OPCW happen like this?
Well, look, we got an example 20 years ago with Joseph Bustani. He was the founding director general of this organization. And right after he was elected to a new 5-year term, the Bush administration came in and forced him out. Why? Because he was trying to bring Iraq into the Chemical Weapons Convention. And the Bush administration knew that if Bustani succeeded in that would subject Iraq to regular inspections, which would show that Iraq had no chemical weapons. And once that happened, that would make it a lot harder for Bush to invade Iraq. So John Bolton personally flew over to The Hague, to Bustani's office, said to him, you have to resign. And Bustani said no. And John Bolton literally said to him, we know where your kids live. And Bustani said, I'm not resigning. So then John Bolton went, and behind the scenes, they bullied enough states into basically agreeing to oust Bustani in a vote. And just for good measure, the U.S. threatened to withhold its share of the OPCW's budget, which would have made
the
OPCW impossible to operate. And I've interviewed Joseph Bustani before, and he tells his story. And it's an amazing story. I interviewed him
it's
on my...
crazy is like these court cases keep coming up because of like what the white helmets have said, you know, like the original reporting was from these white helmet guys. It's crazy to me how people like still even talk about the white helmet guys and still think of them as like these, I don't know, these heroes or something. Because I swear every time here, hold on. Why is it doing that? Okay. Every time I hear the words white helmets, this is exactly what I think of right here. I don't know if you guys ever remember, but a few years ago, TikTok had this little thing called the mannequin challenge. And this is what the white helmets were doing during that challenge that was going viral. It's going to do a commercial. Of course it is. Of course. It wants me to wait 20 seconds. Is it for real right now? It's for real right now. It really said, bitch, you waiting 23 seconds. Yeah, they stage these events. Yeah. So have you seen this before? Because this shit's nuts. Oh, come on. Are you really going to act like this now? Oh, okay. It just wanted me to push play. Yeah, they staged the events. Hold on here, watch. Right? So that's them doing the mannequin challenge. If you guys were, knew about that, a lot of the kids were doing it on TikTok. How real is that? Like that is here. Wait, let me bring it back to so you guys. It's gonna make me. Never mind. I'm not gonna bring it back because I just exited out of it, and then it's gonna make me watch the fucking or the commercial all over again. But yeah, did you see how real it was? The guy had like the white dust all over his face. He had some blood right here. He looked like he was stuck in the hole where the bomb had went off. They literally did a really good job on the mannequin challenge. But that to me, when I saw that just proved to me that they were faking everything, like you're saying, Ed. They're staging events. They got caught. They got busted. And that's who we believed when they did the report on the gas attack in Syria. And that's pretty much what Aaron Matei is trying to debunk in a way, I guess. We'll bring him back up and we'll watch him a little bit more to hear what he says.
Podcast pushback. It's incredible. He also found out during this time that his office was being bugged. And there was even a mole inside who was working for whoever was bugging him. And we can guess who was the party, who was the state party that was bugging him. So anyway, that's when the corruption started. When he was ousted, that was a sign that the OPCW was not going to be an impartial, independent institution. It was subjected to be compromised, to compromise by the U.S. and its allies. And so fast forward now to Duma in 2018, the OPCW gets on the ground for the first time in Syria to investigate an alleged chemical attack. The actual investigators find no evidence of the chemical attack. What happens to them? Their findings get censored. the original team gets sidelined and all this deception is put forth. And I'll just give you one example. And I talked about this in my UN remarks, but I think this is the easiest part to understand when it comes to how much fraud has gone into propping up this narrative. Okay. So one of the complaints of the original dissenting inspectors of the previous OPCW reports about Duma was that they were making unsupported claims to assert that there was evidence of chemical.
Yes, Peter, correct. So that little video that you just saw with the white helmets was something called the mannequin challenge. Back in the day, about a few years ago, there was a challenge on TikTok where a person with a camera would go around to people who are frozen, who are like in the middle of an action, but they're frozen. And so the camera would go around and it would look like the mannequin challenge. So people would be frozen looking like in action mannequins in certain areas. And so the white helmets did it. But that video looked, I remember first watching it, it looked so real that you really thought that, like, oh my God, like, how are they this good with makeup and stuff? They're supposed to be out there in Syria helping people get out of bombed situations and pulling people out of bombed areas, but they're able to do a mannequin challenge of somebody who's not even hurt, make it look super real. I mean, they were stuck, they didn't move. They were, and the camera had walked around. You could see the shaking of the guy walking around. You can hear him with his steps moving around, and they were all just frozen. And then all of a sudden it just, boom, everybody starts moving and they were pulling them up out of the thing. So for like a good solid 10 seconds there at first, they were, the guy was walking around them with this phone while they were in the mannequin position. So it was all that entire video that we just watched was a complete stage. It was for a trend on TikTok, and they made it look super real to the point where we were like, well, then how do we know anything else is real out there when it comes to the white helmets? Y'all are just a bunch of phonies. So yeah.
Weapons in Duma, particularly chlorine gas, which is what the OPCW claims. So what do we get now in this new OPCW report put out by the IIT, the Investigation and Identification Team? To prove their case that there is evidence of chlorine gas in Duma, they say they found what they call a marker chemical. And a marker chemical basically means a smoking gun. It's a signature that basically means the presence of this chemical means there was chlorine gas. But guess what? And I've written about this and I talked about this at the UN. This sample that the supposed marker chemical came from has appeared out of nowhere. In all the previous OPCW reports about Duma, it was never even acknowledged. So there's a long table in March 2019 of all the samples that the OPCW collected in Duma and all the samples they received from third party. And the supposed smoking gun didn't even exist then. So nearly 5 years later, the OPCW has basically pulled it out of a hat, out of the blue. It's come out of nowhere, which is unprecedented. Why did we not know about this new magic smoking gun sample until now? And then it gets worse when you find out how it was obtained, because this sample wasn't even collected by the OPCW. The OPCW says it was collected by a third party. And they don't tell us who that third party is, but
that violates their own rules of an investigation, right? Where they only are supposed to analyze things that they themselves have collected, and now they're using a third party collecting this sample that's supposed to confirm that Assad did this, but they won't even tell you who the third party is, even if they did, that would still break their rules.
Yeah, in any serious investigation, criminal investigation, you only want to test evidence, samples you can verify yourself. If some third party comes in and says, hey, guess what? I found this sample, then you can't trust it. And that's what the OPCW rules say, that basically unless a sample is collected by the OPCW, it will not be accepted as valid. And in this case, the sample, I would bet anything, was collected by the White Helmets, which is a group that cooperates with insurgents, that is funded by the US and UK, and in Duma was caught faking a hospital scene to make it look as if they were treating victims of a chemical attack, when there's now been multiple reports by journalists, even from the BBC, who said that this hospital scene was staged. The hospital scene was staged by the White Helmets. And the White Helmets have bragged publicly that they gave the OPCW samples from Duma. So I would bet you anything that this new smoking gun sample, which appeared out of nowhere, came from the White Helmets. And even if it came from anybody else, it doesn't matter. It's not collected by the OPCW. And so therefore, it just can't be trusted. And previously, the OPCW has said explicitly, we would never, ever weigh a sample that we have not collected ourselves. But that has been forgotten in Duma all of a sudden. And then you find out, it gets even more, so okay, the samples appeared from nowhere. It's collected by a third party. And then you find out that actually the OPCW used this sample over a sample that its own inspectors actually collected from the exact same spot. So this sample supposedly comes from the room under one of the cylinders in Duma, some concrete debris in the room under the cylinder. The OPCW collected a sample from that exact same location. But for some reason, they chose to rely on a brand new sample that somebody else collected. It's so shady. Like in any serious investigation, it would never be accepted. For some reason now, it's become a new smoking gun.
So do you think so? I mean, I think it's great. Your reporting is great because I can then point people to, printed documents and things.
So the OPCW is literally wanting to say that Bashar al-Assad gassed his own people, but they're taking samples from people from a group that has already been claimed to do false stuff and stage things. They took this sample 5 years after the fact of, taking samples and things like that, of gas in the area. It seems to me like the White Helmets are working with the OPCW. They were like, oh, well, we need to get, some kind of chemical sample of showing that there was the gas there, because all the ones that we've had so far wasn't showing any chlorine gas attack from all the other samples. So now we've got to introduce one. So here it is. Just use this now, 5 years later, so that way we can say that Bashar al-Assad is doing human rights violations, probably so that International Criminal Court can say that he's wanted for a crime, kind of like Putin. It just seems like it's all the same. We do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again to different countries, one after the next, after the next, after the next. It's nuts. It's absolutely crazy to me that we're even talking about this kind of stuff, and then so while all of that is going on, Syria obviously is still going on. It's still happening in Syria. We're, trying to arrest Putin. There's the Ukraine war and all of this stuff. And then we get back here to America and we get this little piece of shit right here on TV. Last night, Tucker Carlson went on, his nightly little newsy thingy that he does on Fox, because, he's Mr. Popular over there on Fox News. Did a little 9-10 minute video about the shooting that we just recently had, the church school trans shooting. And it seems to me, by what this guy is saying last night, is not literally, it just feels like to me that he's trying to start like this culture war between Christians and the LGBTQ community, just making this divide even bigger than it already is, saying that, LGBTQ is calling up for arms, which I did see Lori Lightfoot's comment, her Twitter, about a call to arms. It's crazy to me to see that the conservatives are super scared that, these trans kids are, wanting to express and have their Second Amendment rights now. And it's all of a sudden a problem when they want to do it, but when white people, conservative, straight white people want to own guns, it's totally okay. You can own as many as you want. And now, there's going to be this war between the LGBTQ community and Christians, because LGBTQ community want all the Christians dead, when that's not even true. It's just that, you raise an LGBTQ person in a Christian environment and they don't flourish, because how they really feel is being bored down by religion. And if anything, it's the Christian religion that wants to end the LGBTQ community, or else they wouldn't have gay conversion therapy. So anyways, I'm going off on a little rant before I even start the video, and I don't even know why I did that. I should have saved it. But I wanted to get it all out because, my ADHD doesn't allow me to to be able to just do things normally. All right. You saw a couple cops in your neighborhood yesterday. Lack of sleep, emotional tearing. Loved them for their toxic masculinity, for stopping 20 children not being murdered in Nashville. Tucker is still dividing after admitting it's all propaganda. Yeah.
Welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. It was just last week that we noticed that parts of the transgender movement seem to be getting militant and possibly dangerous. We did a whole segment about it on Thursday night. That segment was sparred by an NPR segment we had heard and never expected to hear. NPR is always, as a matter of editorial policy, completely opposed to civilian ownership of firearms, with the possible exception of maybe IRS agents. Yet here suddenly was that very same station, National Public Radio, positively urging trans people to buy guns, as many guns as possible, and if necessary, to use them. The world is dangerous, explained one trans gun owner. You have to be dangerous back. And that seems strange to us. Is the United States really a dangerous place for trans people? Well, West Baltimore is dangerous. You could easily get murdered there. But if you're trans in this country, obviously there are many downsides, but there do appear to be some benefits. It's a lot easier to get into Harvard, for example. It's definitely.
Like, who the fuck does he think he is right now? How fucking dare him even say something like that? The benefit of being a trans person is you can get into Harvard easily. You must be in some kind of bubble, dude, because I don't know anybody that's gone to Harvard. I'm, almost in my 40s, and I have not met a single person that has gone to Harvard. So I don't know where you think that these trans kids, who most of them can barely even afford to get the surgery that they want to get done when they're grown up, let alone go to Harvard University. Get the fuck out of here, dude. And second, like I was saying earlier when I was blurbing, who cares if trans people want to get guns? You all of you conservative motherfuckers are out here buying guns, taking pictures taking pictures with your guns and your kids in front of a fucking Christmas tree and shit, as if the guns are part of your family, like your pets, and you're worried that the fucking that now trans people are doing exactly what you guys have all been doing. Sorry, you can't handle that they're playing fire with fire now. They're fighting back. And then they're going to be like, oh, well, hold on, getting ahead of myself. Gotta chill.
Easier to get a job at Citibank or in the Biden White House.
Easier to get a job at Citibank or the Biden White House? Really? Really? That's the benefits of being a trans person compared to being killed or gay conversion therapy, or even just bullied and picked on and have your life threatened and have your family's life threatened and have you doxxed all over the internet? Dude, it's so fucking hard to live as a trans person. If these people knew one trans person, they would completely understand how shitty the life is for them, and it's not that easy. But they're worried about them going and having and grabbing onto their Second Amendment rights, which is their freaking right.
If you're transgender, it can so much as fly a kite. The
right,
Pentagon
John
will happily make you an F-35 pilot just so Hollywood can make a movie about it. Identifying as trans, whatever, again, its downsides, does convey status in this country, which is why so many young people now do. Not a lot of 19-year-olds are pretending to be car mechanics or linemen for a regional power company in Eastern Ohio, but plenty of college freshmen do pretend to be members of the opposite sex. And why would
this is what he's saying. He's saying that college students are so stupid that they're identifying as the opposite sex, or getting a career in identifying as the opposite sex, instead of getting a career in electricity, or as an electrician or a technician or an engineer or something like that, because that's what college kids are doing nowadays, is getting a job as a they, them, or as a non-binary. Like, this guy's really, really packing it in on the stupid for the Republicans. Like, there are people who really watch this shit and are like, fuck yeah, he's right. He's goddamn right. These trans people don't need no guns. Like, I can't believe this shit. I'm having a really, really hard time comprehending the fact that people watch this and agree with what he's saying.
Wouldn't they? The people in charge despise working class whites, but they venerate the trans community. People are just responding to incentives. It's rational in a way. But that does not explain the anger that we heard in that NPR segment. Why are some trans people so angry? And why do they seem to be mad specifically at traditional Christians? We can't think of any trans person who's ever been murdered by a pastor. As far as we know, that has never happened. So it's not an...
Did you just hear that? There's not a single trans person that has been murdered by a pastor. How many children were abused by pastors? How many of those children killed themselves that could have possibly been non-binary or part of the LGBTQ community? He really wants to just say pastors haven't killed trans, as if like pastors aren't out there murdering grown-up trans people. I'm sorry, but the Christian religion, 100% of the people in the KKK were Christian, and they murdered people of color and they murdered LGBTQ. This guy is... God, saying that he's stupid is like saying it nicely. It's really an understatement of how dumb this guy is, and how dumb he thinks Americans are, or how dumb Americans really are for believing this stuff. I don't. How dare him even say, like, even bring up the fact that pastors have never done anything wrong. It's gross to me. It's sickening.
Actual threat of violence from Christians that's inspiring some trans people to buy AR-15s.
Right, Brandy. I saw that about you on Twitter too, that you were getting called. I think I like skimmed through it or something. I should go in there and help you out today. I saw that the thing that we were reading yesterday about this school. Like, that school has literally been charged with essaying children there. So, you know, you add SA along with like gay conversion therapy to some kid who thinks that they're thinking a little bit different, man, that could mess a kid up. And just because that kid messed off himself later on, herself later on, or themselves later on in life, doesn't mean that that pastor is not responsible for that. And yeah, shit did go down in that school. There was some dirty ass stuff that went down in that school. Just like there's dirty stuff that goes down in churches and most Christian schools too. The only time I ever got spanked at a school was a Christian school. Okay? Spanked. Disgusting. Corporal punishment in a school. Can you believe that shit? It was a Christian school.
It's got to be more fundamental than that. And it is. The trans movement is the mirror image of Christianity, and therefore its natural enemy.
Here we go. Here's the call to violence from Tucker Carlson himself, saying that transgenders and the Christian community are natural enemies because they're the complete opposite. Here is him trying to start a culture war with these two communities. Instead of saying, or telling the Christian community to leave trans people alone and let them live their own lives and stop trying gay conversion therapy and stop trying to control them on how they should think and live and act and let people live how they want to think and live and act. No, he automatically says they're complete opposites, that they're just going to be natural enemies. The church is never going to apologize for what it's done to people, is never going to say that they're wrong, because their ultimate answer is going to be God, which is inexplainable. You can't, you can't ask for proof with somebody who only bases their belief off of faith. So there will never be a logical answer to why they believe what they believe, because God is what they believe, and that is their answer to everything. So yeah, it's a lost cause. It's going to end up being a fight. But here's Tucker Carlson out here, like, just, instigating the shit out of it, where they're natural enemies. Like, why start the culture war? Why start these little civil wars in America when, we've got so much bigger things to fry and fish, that this is what you're sitting here talking about on your nightly show on Fox News, is that Christians and LGBTQ community is just natural enemies, and we're just going to end up fighting. Exactly, John. If anyone's dangerous, it's Tucker Carlson.
In Christianity, the price of admission is admitting that you're not God. Christians openly concede that they have no real power over anything, and for that matter, very little personal virtue. They will tell you to your face that they are sinful and helpless and basically absurd. They're not embarrassed about any of this. They brag about it. That saved a wretch like me, goes the most famous Christian hymn ever written in English. The trans movement.
I love how what his vision is of Christians, to save a wretch like me, that they're sinners and blah, blah, blah. No. They sit up on their high horse and think that they're better than others. That's what they do to the trans community, the gay community, the lesbian community. They've always done that. The reason why they have gay conversion therapy and they try to recruit people to change them into being straight Christians is because they think they're better than. So absolutely not. You absolutely, when I was a Christian, I was going around saying that I was a sinner and I was asking for forgiveness for my sins every Sunday and stuff. But my mom asked for forgiveness for her sins every Sunday and then went home and had a cigarette and a drink and did the same thing every fucking week. They say they're sinners. Oh, well, they are sinners, but they still think that they're better than, or else there wouldn't be this, I need to change you because I'm worried about your soul shit. I don't think this wretch can be saved.
It takes the opposite view.
So apparently trans takes the opposite view of sinner, save a wretch like me.
This ideology claims dominion over nature itself. We can change the identity we were born with, they will tell you with wild-eyed certainty. Christians can never agree with this.
This is the kind of talking point that he wants to tell his watchers, so that way that's what they think that it's going to be, that the being a trans is against nature, that it's anti the way that God provided nature to be, man and woman, that they think that the trans community thinks that they're gods because they can change what God made them to be. It's disgusting to me. And this is Tucker Carlson on Fox News, probably talking in front of millions of people who are sitting there watching him, saying, yeah, God damn it, you right. Like, it's disgusting. It's seriously, seriously disgusting how they see the trans community, instead of them using science to become what they want, so that they can be happy, is apparently them playing God. But Christians can go around and get a boob job, get some lip injections, put makeup on, dye their hair, get their nails done, go get a suntan at the sunbed. Dudes can go to the gym and take creatine and muscle up and shit. But that's not going against nature of God. That's not at all. That's in with God. That's okay. But being a trans person and changing, a couple extra body parts so you can feel the way that you want to feel in the gender that you want to feel it, is going against God and nature. Make that make sense to me, please. Because I'm pretty sure that God didn't say in the Bible, thou shalt get lip injections every other week. No, bitch. Thou shalt dye their hair if they don't like the color of it. No. That's not how it works. So why are they able to, ignore? They're able to ignore that fact because they think they're better than. It's their privilege. It's their white privilege that is allowing them to do it. But save a wretch like me, self-deprecation while I show everybody else that I'm the shit. So gross. Right? You do you, I'll do me. Exactly. Buddhists are the best, unconditional, compassionate, and mindfulness rocks. Exactly. Tucker has some good makeup. Oh, I love it. I know I need some meditation. Can you tell from my angry little rants that I get into? I think these angry little rants I get into are kind of a meditation for me. My meditation is breaking stuff.
Statement, because these are powers they believe God alone possesses. That unwillingness to agree, that failure to acknowledge a trans person's dominion over nature, incites and enrages some in the trans community. People who believe they're God can't stand to be reminded that they're not.
They don't believe they're God. Nobody in the trans community believes that they are a God unless you're a Satanist. Then you believe that you're a God. Yeah. That's it. The only place in this world, the only little, bubble world that I've been in where they consider themselves gods is Satanist religion. And it's only as a joke anyway. So him telling everybody and all of his listeners that the trans community think that they're gods is just absolutely disgusting to me. You know who plays God? America plays God because of the death penalty. You white people who love Tucker Carlson, these little white kids in their fucking basement going off and doing school shootings and all kinds of other shootings. Those guys think that they're playing God. They're literally out there murdering people. You want to sit here and believe in God and say people are playing God? Talk to your little white kids that are going around murdering places and have been murdering people in places. He's extremely, I help you keep saying thanks. You all help me keep saying too. He is super ignorant, Brandy. I cannot with this guy. I saw this last night and I was like, you have got to be shitting me. This guy really said this shit.
Transgender orthodoxy are wholly incompatible theologies. They can never be reconciled. They are on a collision course with each other. One side is likely to draw blood before the other side. That's what we concluded last week. Yesterday morning, tragically, our fears were confirmed. A self-identified trans person called Audrey Hale committed mass murder at a Christian school in Nashville. Hale burst into a place called the Convent School and executed 3 9-year-olds as well as 3 adults. Police have released body cam footage from the end of the massacre. We're showing you just a small part of it. You can see the rest online if you want. We're not going to show it because it's too awful and sad. But what was almost as sickening to see in a far more subtle and insidious way was the media coverage of yesterday's tragedy. Here's Terry Moran of ABC News, for example, suggesting that Christians were murdered in Tennessee because they infringed on the rights of transgendered people. Watch.
Audrey Hill identified herself as a transgender person. State of Tennessee earlier this month passed and the governor signed a bill that banned transgender medical care for minors, as well as a law that prohibited adult entertainment, including male and female impersonators, after a series of drag show controversies in that state.
And he's going to sit here and complain about it. So yeah, Idaho or the Nashville and in the place where this shooting happened, a lot of anti-trans bills just came into law that pretty much brought down this person's rights, this person's human rights. And he goes off and, does this. You could see motives in this person of what, the reason why this person did this, like the motive for it. But he's going to sit here and let's just wait and see what
the state of Tennessee bans the sexual mutilation of children. Children get shot to death in a school. It's cause and effect. That's what ABC News is telling you. That's not far from justifying mass murder, but others took the next step. A group called the Trans Resistance Network said that the shooter's death was a complex tragedy that resulted from, quote, anti-trans bias. The Hershey Chocolate Company's new trans spokesman, meanwhile, someone called Faye Johnstone, posted messages after the shooting complaining about, quote, trans misogyny. In Canada, a taxpayer-funded trans rights organization put out a statement that ignored the murder of the children in Nashville entirely and instead claimed there has been a, quote, exponential rise in anti-trans violence. That is a lie. It's a provable lie. And in fact, the opposite is true. We seem to be watching the rise of trans terrorism. The man who
Here
tried
it comes. There was so many things about this on Twitter yesterday about the rise of trans terrorism.
Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, after the repeal of Roe v. Wade, identified as a, quote, trans gamer girl. The man who shot up a nightclub in Colorado in this past November and murdered 5 people, identified as non-binary. And now this. And there could be more.
This. Do you and then there could be more. See, he couldn't even get more than 3 examples of trans people doing a mass shooting, because out of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds that we've had over the last year or two, you can only name 3. 3. That's it. How many? So because you want to be so anti-trans because of the 3 shootings that have happened, why are we not anti-white boy because of all the shootings that have happened? Because of the hundreds that have happened. Why aren't we anti any kind of specific color when those happen? It's because it's a culture war. It's what you're doing. They're trying to put blame on a tragedy instead of actually fixing the problem. Like I said a bazillion times yesterday, putting the Band-Aid on the gaping wound instead of actually taking care of the wound and making sure that it doesn't get infected, that it closes up perfect, that it heals correctly. No, we just want to throw a Band-Aid on and hope for the best. Maybe take some alcohol and, make the pain go away a little bit. And that's all that America wants to do with things like this, or they want to sit there and blame it on somebody. Here we go. So 3 of these happen in the last couple of years, and all of a sudden it's a rise in trans terrorism. Why don't they ever say that about white young male terrorism? Like about that boy that essayed that girl behind a dumpster and then ran to Mexico. What did the court system say about that white kid? Oh, that he was a good kid and that he had his whole future ahead of him, and we shouldn't be doing stuff like that to him, putting him in jail because he has a whole future ahead of him. Oh, really? Really? Because he did a crime. But 3 people do a crime of the same kind of thing in the last couple of years, and all of a sudden it's a rise in that terrorism. Okay.
Antifa has announced this coming Saturday is the, quote, Trans Day of Vengeance. Vengeance for what? That's not
I can't believe he's saying that this is super, super bad and it's scary and stuff. Because I know some people that have been spreading this around and they're not violent people at all. I saw Sakuru sharing this around. Sakuru is the most least violent person that I know ever. I don't think he could I mean, I could probably see him getting angry, but he would never hurt anyone at all physically. So, and I've been seeing him passing this Trans Day of Vengeance thing to stop trans genocide. It's crazy how Tucker Carlson is making this Trans Day of Vengeance seem like it's just this like super violent like repeat of January 6th, but with trans people or something that's coming up.
But the suggestion is there will be violence in Washington this weekend.
Right, John? No, I'm right there with you
today, because if there's a day of vengeance coming, the rest of us should probably know about it. And for doing so, immediately had her official congressional Twitter account suspended.
And see, that's the thing. Like, I'm like a whole complete opposite, John, because I'm like, I see this stuff and I nitpick through it when I'm watching it. And I'm like, how do people not see that? 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 And I'm like, dude, people need to fucking see this. And so that's why I keep doing it on my show. I'm just like, God, people, please see this. People, please see this. Please see this. It's like my own little spell casting.
You're not supposed to talk about any of this, apparently.
Right.
And the authorities in Nashville certainly are not planning to talk about it. They're doing their best not to. Here's the police chief of Nashville explaining that while he's happy to talk about the shooter's guns, he's not going to tell you anything about the shooter's motives. Watch.
So in the manifesto, there's several different writings about other locations. There were locations, there was talks about the school. There was a map of the school, a drawing of how
that's so wrong, Brandy.
And the
that's so wrong.
Take place. It's quite a bit of writing to it. I have not read the entire manifesto. Our team and the FBI has been working,
I mean, it doesn't help that Tucker Carlson was on the news last night saying that there's some kind of culture war going on and that Christians and LGBTQ are natural enemies. You know, yeah, it's gonna make the trans community want to claim their Second Amendment right even more, go out and buy more guns to protect themselves. And it's going to make the white supremacists even more louder and willing to go and attack and threaten people that is, you know, their opposites because of Tucker.
On this.
Well, that's interesting. Within what seemed like minutes, we saw pictures of the rifles and the pistol. We now have horrifying body cam footage from within the school. So unsettling, we're not going to show it to you. But somehow we can't see the manifesto in which the killer explains why she killed. Why is that? It's not accidental. Well, you know exactly why it is. Because it would make the obvious undeniable. The trans movement is targeting Christians, including with violence. Most Christian leaders in this country don't want to admit that. Admitting it might force them to take deeply unfashionable positions.
He is, Steve.
But it
really
is. And anyone who's paying attention knows that it's true. And so, like most true things at this point, it is officially suppressed. Here, for example, is Joe Biden yelping again about how it's all your fault when these tragedies happen because you've got guns at home. This is from yesterday.
We have to do more to stop gun violence. It's ripping our communities apart, ripping the soul of this nation, ripping at the very soul of the nation. And we have to do more to protect our schools so they aren't turned into prisons. You know, the shooter in this situation reportedly had 2 assault weapons and a pistol, 2 AK-47. So I call on Congress again to pass my assault weapons ban.
So
so because I really don't want to take the side of Joe Biden on this, but because Joe Biden asked Congress to bring back his assault weapon ban and that it's disrupting communities and it's hurting communities and stuff, that's Tucker Carlson's version of thinking that it's our fault. It's the or not ours, but it's the conservative regular people's fault for owning so many guns and that we need to get rid of all of our guns. Do you see the manipulation that he's trying to pull here with this? It's crazy to me how, I mean, I can see how people can, like, if you just don't think about it, if you're just watching blindlessly, let's say, you know, like I think my grandma used to do the crossword puzzle on the back of the newspaper when she used to watch her news. So you're just you're just mindlessly taking all this information in, not really thinking about what they're saying. And it's crazy to me because I don't understand how asking for an assault weapons ban, asking Congress that, is blaming regular Americans for owning too many guns and we need to get rid of them. But that's what Tucker Carlson thinks, though.
Going to prevent you from learning why the shooter did it, and we don't.
No, he says going to prevent you from learning why the shooter did it. Here, hold on.
So we're going to prevent you from learning why the shooter did it, and we don't have to guess because she wrote a whole manifesto about why she did it, and we know that she did that because she told a friend of hers on Instagram that she did it. But we can't see it. We can only talk about the guns. We can't know what kind of drugs she was taking, what kind of hormones or SSRIs or benzodiazepines. We can only guess.
Because they want to blame it on the hormones, because it's the hormones that are going to make her want to go out and kill a school. That's what did it.
About the gun.
This guy.
Pass my assault weapons ban. That'll fix the problem. But Joe Biden is lying about that. He knows that he's lying.
Why is it being all weird? Is it because I paused it too much?
Is lying about that. He knows that he's lying, and you know that he's lying. Yesterday's massacre did not happen because of lax gun laws. Yesterday's massacre happened because of a deranged and demonic ideology that is infecting this country with the encouragement of people like Joe Biden.
A deranged ideology that is infecting this community that is being propped up by Joe Biden. That's why there was a shooting the other day. Not because of lax gun laws, but because of a disease on America, aka the LGBTQ trans community apparently is a disease on America and is what's ruining this country. Oh man, like I said, I cannot believe conservatives sit there, like Republicans sit there and watch it and are just like, fuck yeah, bro, that's it, that's the one to do it, that's it, that's it, I'm gonna go and tell all my friends the same thing. I can't. I can't. I just can't. I can't with these guys. So that's the end of that one. That was it. That's all done. And then I'm all done too. It's officially 3:00. Yay, I made it. I'm so excited. She was on drugs. All commercial mainstream media is a national security threat for causing the culture war, dividing and conquering, and distracting both left and right. The FCC should be investigated and media should lose their licenses. I agree. But we never get anybody really decent in the FCC. I think right now we've got somebody pretty decent in the FCC. They just had a hearing, but like they've been stopping her from being the head of the FCC for a couple of years now. Usually they'll find somebody and, it'll be like a rotating door. But this one, they were like, no, we're going to wait a couple of years. And so there is somebody new that's going to be joining the FCC. So we'll see how it goes. And it's better than the one that we had before. What was his name? Ajit Pai, the guy with like the giant coffee cup. Thought he was super cool, trying to get rid of net neutrality and shit. He's gone. He's out now. So I think it's just the committee that's going to be going through and approving this new lady for the FCC is just kind of, I don't know. I know you can go on to Ron Placone's channel and he covered the FCC hearing approval for that lady. So I'm hoping maybe, but we can never really expect anything. So from these people, there's always that little hope though, especially when it comes to net neutrality and internet neutrality. So yeah, because these companies and stuff, they're just so much propaganda. Like it's all we have to do now is to be able to, it's to trust us. You have to trust each other and trust ourselves. And that's it. So I knew it was Jim Crow's fault. All right. I am going to get at Gigi Sohn is her name, I think. Okay. All right. I'm going to get out of here. So thank you guys for coming. Desert Mantis, John, Steve, Cape Socialist. I saw Lula in here. Peter. I know Warren was in here. Brandy, Anthony, Les Bones was here. I can't remember who else. Ed, Lana. Don't want to forget those two. Who else? If I forgot your name, I am so sorry. I'm trying to scroll. Did you see the entire White House Biden event? He starts off saying, I'm Joe. Yeah, for the shooting thing. Yeah, I showed it. I showed it yesterday and how tactless it was for sure. Yeah, I showed it yesterday. It was disgusting how he handled that. But I mean, what do you expect? You've got Tucker Carlson over here trying to start a culture war. And then you got Joe Biden, who is our leader, going around saying he likes ice cream and cute little kids when there's been a shooting. So welcome to America. We're in the weird timeline. We're not even in the bad timeline anymore. We're like in the weird one. We're like in some weird timeline. I don't know what happened with the Mandela effect and how things got switched up, but we ended up off of like the bad timeline and we're in just some like wacky weird one where it's like every day is a new bingo card section to punch off. And then most of the time you have to like write in empty spaces in the bingo card because there's some that you just can never even think that could actually happen. So, We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully one day we'll get like a Nostradamus that's alive right now and can help us figure out what our future is going to be like. So that way that, you know, we can expect it. Because all this like, yeah, I didn't have that on my bingo card for 2023. That's been kind of the timeline that we're on. Yeah. The weird bingo card timeline. All right. Yes. Ciao. Happy Wednesday. So I will be back tomorrow as usual, normal time. I'll probably be setting up some clips to release today. I don't have anybody coming on this week for the show, but we will have the show on Saturday with Warren, the Secret Show at midnight Eastern. And I know that Willie's going to be doing his show this weekend as well. He does one on KRTD on Saturday. We've got the Political Matrix guys doing a show this weekend. Don't want to forget that. I think tomorrow night Ed and them are going to be doing another Chicago Corner. I think it's Tuesdays and Thursdays that they do that. Excited to see who Ed's going to have on tomorrow. If it's going to be Jerry again, if Jerry's back or not. So yeah, just keep your guys' eye out. I noticed yesterday I did not get a ring notification or notification for Chicago Corner until like 15 minutes before it ended. And I did not hit that little bell button. So I hit that little bell button and I hit all instead of it said personalized or something. I hit the all one. So that way I won't forget it anymore. I know I've got to keep remembering that. If I'm subscribed to a channel, I need to hit that bell button. You guys remember that too, because I think that's what is messing us up on not getting the notifications is when we hit subscribe, we just think that we're going to get all the notifications. And YouTube doesn't do that. So that's that little bell thing. Click on it. And if it's on, it'll say none, personalized, and all. And default is personalized. And I don't know what ones they notify you with that. So I just click all on the ones that I follow. So just remember to do that because I had to do that yesterday with Chicago Corner. So yeah. Okay. Let me get out of here. You're the best. Please hit me out with your take on James Lindsay from New Discourses. I hope what he's saying isn't true. Truly confused and worried. Okay. James Lindsay from New Discourses. All right, I will look that up today. Let me type that in right now. James Lindsay. What is it? New Discourse? New Discourse. All right, I will look that up for you today. Thank you for doing that. Give me something to talk about tomorrow. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy hump day. I hope you guys all enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow. Okay, peace out.